And hi, everybody. Um, Everybody starts to come in. Welcome to Rick Snyder's Washington on YouTube, where you get the whole story. So please like, share, subscribe, comment, and even hit the thanks button on YouTube, because I get money when you do that. And people will be checking in a moment, but that makes the algorithm happy. If you're watching on replay, we're going to talk about everything for the next hour, Washington Commanders or whatever else anybody else wants to know. So we'll just hang out for a moment. Everybody will start. And there's the first person in, as always, Steve Moody. Howdy, Steve. It's like you always ready to go on all this. So glad to have you. I figured tonight will be a big group. All right, more people jumping in now. I appreciate it. Yeah, after yesterday's big win, I guess it's safe to believe now. And everybody's going to hit that bandwagon, and there's nothing wrong with that. People are telling me, "Oh, it's bandwagon fans." I don't care. We care. You rediscover the joy of the team. You're coming back to enjoy what you used to love. Go for it, man. That's what this is for. Sports is supposed to be fun. Otherwise, go to school and learn Latin or something. So, just everybody start up and start asking questions. I just finished a Seasons of Discontent podcast. We just finished taping. So that'll be up right after this, or maybe while this. Well, why would you leave me now to go listen to me there? I don't know. When you can ask a question directly. All right. So quite a lot to talk about from yesterday. It was a busy day out there on there, including, the Sean Taylor thing. Fernando Lobos is here. Hey, how you doing? And James B. Hey, James. Glad to see everybody. Feel like I'm on Romper Room talking to everybody. So I don't know what to talk about first. You guys let me know. But I figure we're either talking about playoffs, Sean Taylor, big hats. Kind of thought those were cool. The running game, quarterbacks, whatever else. All right, Michael starts. So the Sean Taylor thing makes me want to kick puppies. All right. And he's the moderator. I was underwhelmed. I mean, listen, I guess it was my fault. I was expecting a statue. When they talk about a memorial installation and all, that's usually what you're talking about. Something in bronze or granite or whatever. And, go look up at Raven Stadium. You see that nice, Ray Lewis one. It's an awesome piece of art. I just assumed that's what they were doing. And they said, oh, no, it's a memorial installation. Nobody said statue. And I looked at the release and I was like, yeah, they're right. But that is semantics. That's lawsuit lawyer stuff. It just wasn't any good, really. I mean, it was underwhelming, and you wanted something to go, wow, and that wasn't it. James, I don't know if it was disrespectful, but I think it was short-sighted. And I think, they were surprised that the fans were backlashing so much off of this. But people wanted something great. If you're going to use Sean Taylor's name, you got to do it. You got to do the big stuff. And, there's plenty of people they should be doing statues of. And if they go to the next stadium and they say, well, this can be moved to the next stadium. They move bronze statues and granite statues all the time. That's not hard. I'm in the statues business because I'm also a tour guide downtown. And so I know all about statues. There's 3,150 of them in D.C. alone. I don't know them all, but I know a lot about them. So don't tell me that. They should have done something big. The crowd was jazzed. They were there chanting 21-21 when they pulled that cloak down. And I'm sitting there thinking, whew, okay, and I thought, wait a minute, this is it? What? And they got quiet. And I just think, I ran a poll on my YouTube page. 55% said it was okay. I was surprised that many. But I just think it could have been so much more. I would have liked to have talked to the artist and said, what's your vision on this? Because sometimes when I've had people explain to me their pieces that are out there, like the Vietnam Wall, great example. Vietnam Wall was hated when it came out because it was black marble. And the Vietnam vets thought this was an insult because all the memorials were white marble. And the woman who did it, Maya Lin, explained, I wanted it to show that war is a black mark against the earth. That's what she was doing there. Once she explains that, people kind of understood it a little better. So maybe you would have had a reasonable explanation. I don't know. Went around, but it just looked cheap and underwhelming. So, James, 3,500? No, 3,150, more or less. We get new ones here and there. Fernando thinks it was Walmart marquee. I mean, yeah, that's the problem. It looked like something off the rack. and there wasn't any face, there wasn't any arms. I just don't think it was good enough on it. But they didn't ask my opinion. Bob Baker says, I guarantee that Sean's family was not happy. You hear a lot of conflicting things about that, and there's a lot of political posturing now over this because the team doesn't want another black eye on this kind of thing. But I can't imagine. All I say is they got real quiet on the mezzanine when that thing came off. People went from, what? I think everybody's a little confused what we were looking at. The picture I took, I put on Twitter of it, 3 million impressions. I've never had anything go like that. 3 million. 500,000 was when a friend of mine was murdered in a mass shooting. I talked about him. This was 3 million and growing. I mean, that's how much people were looking at this. I just think it should have been vetted out better. All right, so let's see. Let me keep up. A lot of you really jumped in on that. Did they really break the statue carrying it into the stadium? Panicked and they got a dummy out of the. Okay, don't fuck up 23. Yeah, that's funny. Imagine putting 36 on the mannequin, Pablo. I can see everybody here is really intense on this subject. All I'll say now is it's been done. Take a breath, move on. It's unfortunate. But how many times have we seen this team underperform on things? They just don't quite get it. They really need someone on this team. And if they have a new owner, maybe that's where it'll be. And it's not going to be me. I'm not looking for a job. But they need somebody with some experience around to keep them out of these landmines. Hopefully the next owner will be able to see around corners. Alton, when you look around FedEx Field on Sunday, what percentage of fans in Redskins jersey versus Commanders jerseys? Good question. I think it's still more Commanders, but it's getting a lot more even than I would expect. But there's still a lot more Redskins jerseys, just partly to get them. I mean, there was a big line outside of the stadium store. Oh, it had to be 100 people deep, and they only let so many in at a time. So I don't usually go around the stadium a whole lot, but I did this time. I was at Tailgate Ted's tailgate party, which is really great. If any of you want to go to a great tailgate, Tailgate Ted's is the one to go to. The food's unbelievable. Let's see. All right, Fernando. All right, we'll switch to the big hats. That's where the money is. Some, I'm sure everybody will be wearing them. Yeah, I didn't know anything about this, but they were like, what do they call it? Big noggins? Something like that. I wrote it down. And Sean, Brian Robinson, this is a friend of mine. Well, this company actually was on Shark Tank. So it's not some startup basement place. It's a real thing. And suddenly today there's, the Capitals had a video up of their guys wearing them, and the University of Maryland football coach is wearing one. So I know they've been out there. We just haven't noticed them much here. But I am not a big apparel guy, but I thought they were cool. So if one of you wants to buy it for me, that'd be great. Or you could donate. Hit the thanks button there. I always talk about this. Hit the thanks button. Throw me a few bucks. It's getting near Christmas, you Ebenezer's. I need the cash because I'm broke. Bought a new house and all my money's here. So thanks button always helps. It helps me pay for the time of doing all this stuff. And maybe I'll buy a big hat and wear it on the show. Who knows? This coming week, when beating the books on Saturday, I'll have to do it without my shirt because I lost it picking games last week. So if you want to see a little more of me than you want to see, go watch Beating the Books this coming Saturday. What's my take on Watson being allowed to play, Bob asked me. I guess. I mean, the courts he's pretty much handled everything in the courts now. I think the NFL gave him a light sentence, but it is what it is. So I would have never given him the contract that they did. I thought that was foolish. I says, hopes I'm doing well. Yeah, doing great. I was thinking about retiring, but I'm not anymore because there's lots of fun stuff coming up with this team. So it's worth sticking out. Big Noggin. Yeah, that's what they're called. And B. Mitch and Finley ordered one for themselves, not for me. You think 1067 is for all the free shows I do would get me a big noggin. I have a big noggin, but these things would fit me. So if looked like they could do Adrian's head on Daniel, okay. I didn't think Adrian had a big head. Obey the Lord, everyone, which, hey, I used one of your questions for one of my coming videos when I asked for questions. So Obey the Lord, a couple days it'll be on. Washington has a playoff spot in the playoff picture. I see. Yep. Yeah. Right now they're in the playoffs, but a lot of stuff in the next 5 games to do that. Okay. Fernandez Lopez. Aren't we happy we got Wentz instead of Russell or Aaron? Well, yeah, it didn't cost as much as that stuff would have. So they dodged that bullet in a way. Still going to spend $28 million on a guy that's not going to really help them, and a 3rd-round pick. Bob asked, was standing at the game yesterday. We didn't see him. He wasn't at the Sean Taylor thing, and you know why? Because they would have booed him off the concourse, and he knows it. That's why he didn't show up for that, which is sad because Sean was his guy. They were tight. Sean asked, thoughts on Bates? Hey, I mean, this kid's, I liked him last year when I saw him for the first time. He's a very good blocker. They threw the ball to him a few times. Had a touchdown, was in the back of the end zone, couldn't get his feet down at times. So the guy's catching a few balls too. So I think he's a nice player for them, no doubt. Does winning raise the possibility Danny won't sell? Asked Fiddle and Mike. Nah, I don't think it has anything to do with anything. I think he's going to sell. I think he's pretty much compelled to sell at this point. Mike, we're not going to win these division games playing like they have against Atlanta. Well, every week is different. So the tide rises and falls. So I wouldn't worry too much about that. But the Giants are a tough team for Washington to play. All right. Paulo asks, is it imperative we sweep the remaining division games, or can the playoffs be attained by going 2-1? Probably 2-1. I mean, you need 10 wins. You also play Cleveland and San Francisco. Can beat Cleveland. San Francisco may be the key game. It's the next to the last game. That could be the one to watch. And, of course, it's Christmas Eve at 4 o'clock start, so that's not going to go over well in my house. Let's see. Robert says we can't pay Payne and the rest of the free agents. True, but I think they're going to really make a big effort to re-sign Payne. So I would expect him back. So, and the other guys, you see what you get. I mean, but you got to take care of the big dogs, up front. Let's see. Kevin, I was hoping to see a statue of Sean. Yeah, me too. That's what I thought it was going to be. So I was kind of wondering what's it going to look like. I don't know. The Ray Lewis one they got right. That was an awesome one up in Baltimore. That's how you do it. Yeah, this was nothing. Okay, sweeping the Giants would be great, says Aveda Lord. Well, you do that, Giants are knocked out and they're in, pretty much. Justin says, left hand up, who we are. I love this left hand thing because the fans generated it. Wasn't a marketing thing. Wasn't the team telling you to do it. The fans did it. That's what I like about it the most. Will they pursue a free agent quarterback next year? Brooke asked. Probably. Probably. Why not? It would be Jimmy Garoppolo. Somebody's asking me. I don't think that is it. All right. Rogelio says, sometimes it's about matchups with players to win games. Yeah, and sometimes it's about punching somebody in the mouth and winning that game, and that's what they did yesterday. They finally managed to punch them back in the mouth. Good game overall. Bob says, Payne and Curl are probably their top 2 free agent priorities outside of a quarterback. Yeah, I would agree with that. Sean, are we going to see Chase this weekend? Ooh. Well, especially, Ron didn't say it exactly the words, but it more or less understood it to be he caught the flu Saturday that's been going around the team, and that's what happened. So if that's true, then yes, they probably does play this week. But it seems to be an ongoing tease, doesn't it? Paulo asks, thoughts on Christian Holmes overall? I saw him get beat once early, but overall, I thought he did okay. Didn't get really beat that much. Alton said, if I was going to see a game at the home stadium of a division rival, which one do you go to? Dallas. Yeah, it's not even close. Obey the Lord. Honestly, got to be happy that Ron never traded up, and probably not getting Lamar Jackson either. Now, I fumbled that one, didn't I? I don't know. I'm sorry. B-Rob keeps looking better, says Steve. Yeah, in the last 2 weeks. Last week I noticed especially, I thought, okay, he's trying coming back into form. So I thought that was okay. And Daniel's right. They need to basically this is the time of year where you punch your opponent in the mouth and see who's toughest, which is what Daniel says. So don't hit me in the mouth. You might be tougher than me. Justin, we can go to the playoffs. Let's get back in the wild card chase in Minnesota and see if they can knock them out. Yeah, that'd be kind of fun, wouldn't it? Mike P., cousin of mine, any Go ahead and hit the thanks button, cuz. Any comment on the extra point kick? Yeah, right. Joey Sly's having a nice, quiet, good year, and then he misses the extra point. So I guess I jinxed him on that. Rahelo, do I think Maryland is the answer for Washington so far? I'm sorry, Marty Ball is the answer. Yeah, Marty Ball was kind of like that too. He's the toughest cat on the field. That's kind of where we are because they don't have the quarterback to win 42-35. They've got to win down and dirty. Running game, low-scoring games. That's how they've been winning. So he was the toughest kid on the schoolyard. And I kind of sound like Doc Walker here, That's what Doc always talks about. Let's see. Does Holcomb come back this year, asked Hank? My guess, no. He's going to see a specialist soon. I just have a bad feeling he's not coming back, but they haven't got any report from the specialist yet about that. He's supposed to see one this week. Paulo, was Way's punt that landed at the Atlanta 5 at turning point yesterday? Well, yeah, it flipped the field. That was a big, big play for them. Trust Way is an awesome player for them. Probably their best punter ever. If I had to really think about it, it probably was. It probably is. So don't forget to see what we're into. Oh, we're already 15 minutes past. Man, it's just rolling. We cycle people through here. Got a good crowd tonight, I see. So thanks for coming by. I appreciate it. Most of you last about 10, 15 minutes and realize this is dumb. But, if you hit the thanks button, all monies go to me. So I do appreciate it. It's one reason why I do this, just at the end of a career, trying to give back to the fans, but also let the fans get back to me. I hate sounding like a whore. It really is bad. But if I don't say nothing, nobody ever donates money. So, last week we raised $50. I gave it to the food bank. Let's see what we can do this time. All right, Sean said Atlanta gassed the defense early. Yeah, that was kind of surprising how much they did that. So you think quarterback option game against New York? Yeah, I don't think they'll do it as much. Mariota's pretty good at scrambling like that. Geno Smith looking like a franchise QB, it says Baylor Lord. Geno Smith is like leading the NFC in Pro Bowl voting, and I am surprised. I am surprised by that. When are we going to find out about the December 18th game, Alton? I asked that the other day, and they said the Monday before the game. It's either the 17th or the 18th. I have a family reunion the 17th, which Mike P's on here watching, my cuz. Mike, I'm going to come, hopefully, but if I got to do the game, there's going to be some fighting going on. So, I don't know. I think it's going to be the 18th, though, because it's going to be a bigger game than they expect. And I think they like those on Sunday, especially Eastern teams like this. They like 1 o'clock Sunday games with those games. So I'm going to guess the 18th, but we'll find out. What is that? The 11th, December 11th. Okay, people, hit the thanks button, says Mike P. I don't see his name on there. Hitting the thanks button. But yeah, my cousin agrees. All right. Howard, only a matter of time Carson Wentz be back in the air because tough opponents coming. It's not so much, well, I mean, if you think they're going to lose, yeah. Could Carson come back? Absolutely. They lose a couple games? Absolutely. Don't think this is Heineke's job forever. It's a great story. It's been a lot of fun. He's winning games, so he's staying in. But that doesn't mean it's forever. Not for long is the NFL. Daniel says, I like the fan base that's showing up lately. Thank you for that comment. Yeah, I mean, the fans are coming back. They just want to see some win, have some fun. Who wants to pay all this money and come and watch them get the lights beat out of them? So sure. But now they're winning. Come on back. It's okay. You're welcome back. Pay $17 for a beer if you want. Charles, if they make the playoffs, does Taylor keep a starting job next year? That's a good question. I would not say it's automatic. Steve, thank you for the hitting the thanks button. See everybody, be like Steve, hit the thanks button. It's $5, whatever. Nobody's asking you to give me a kidney. All right, Finland Mike, understand the field in the Meadowlands stinks. Yeah, it's like the worst. They say it's the worst artificial field around. So maybe you stay Chase until after that game. Well, then Chase could play 4 games. Yeah. It's just something all the time. Bob's got to go. All right, sorry, Bob. Bob and I are friends, so, you got something else to do. I understand. You can leave me. It's all right. We're still friends. Obey the Lord. Yes, we can't act like Heineke didn't have his worst yesterday. Was that his worst game yesterday? I don't know. Sometimes it's just about don't lose the game. A lot of quarterbacks are like that. Don't lose the game. Don't make mistakes, you know. And that's what they're asking Taylor a lot. But he made some nice plays too. First drive, really impressive. David, has there been any behind-the-scenes information on the sale of the team? Nah, not really. It's been quiet, but I think everybody's getting their offers ready. I mean, you know, you don't come up with an acquisition of something for $7 billion without doing some due diligence and, you know, doing a lot of prep work. So I think really January is the time we're going to start seeing things more. And this is going to take a while. It's not going to be done in 5 seconds. You know, I did the last time it's the team in '99. It's a lot of time and effort. Food is high at FedEx, says Howard. Yeah, I wouldn't pay it. Honestly, I wouldn't pay it. You know, I can get by without 3 hours of eating, you know. A lot of your tailgates having fun anyway. Eat there and come in. You'll be okay. You won't dehydrate for 3 hours. Let's see. Daniel says, looks like Taylor hyperextended his elbow on the handoff. I noticed something weird there, but we did not get any kind of injury updates today. So I don't know. Nobody's saying anything yet. Taylor's got much better throwing the ball away and trying to do something, says the Woboat. Absolutely. Welcome back, Woboat. And yeah, that's one of the things he really has gotten better. RB, do you think Snyder will sell if the Commanders somehow go and win the Super Bowl? Well, you never get a better price for him. I'll say that. You win the Super Bowl, he could probably add another $1 billion to the tag. That'd be the time to do it. Walk away a winner. She's slamming jamming 87's back and says, is there any concern long term of the run defense being gashed? Yeah, they were doing double and triple teams on Allen and Payne. But here's the thing: you got 5 guys on 2. You should have somebody else on the Commanders getting through, in which you have Sweat, and you should have, you know, the other guys have played well too. That whole line, you know, even Ridgeway they picked up is playing well. So these dudes are balling. So you can't keep doing that forever. Paolo, any word on St. Juste's availability Sunday? Won't hear anything till Wednesday on that. They don't have to do injury reports today. They don't have to do it till Wednesday. So we haven't heard anything till then. Mark, why don't people like me and others believe in Taylor Heinicke? He deserves to show through the rest of the season and he's progressed. Hey, here's the thing. I don't get to decide this. Ron Rivera decides this. So it doesn't matter what I think or anybody else thinks. It's what Ron Rivera thinks. And I have no problems with Taylor. I think he's awesome in a lot of ways. And whatever Ron does, he does. And I'll write about it and talk about it. Kevin, did Ron do a Monday presser? Yeah. But it was a Zoom call. So it wasn't on Twitter like they do a lot of other things. And mostly the talk was just kind of general stuff about winning and losing. You know, it wasn't a lot of insightful kind of things. All right. They're not all like that. Obey the Lord says everyone's give a clap to the O-line for no sacks. Yeah, 2 weeks in a row. True. I mean, they're getting better. They're getting better and gelling better. Howard, Chase Young about to start against the Giants, ESPN says. You know, well, if John Keim's reporting that, then it's true. If it's just one of the insiders on ESPN, then they don't know anything particularly. So he may, you know, as long as he's healthy, I expect him to go out there. But we'll see. When am I getting one of the big hats? The Woboat asked. That's why I say hit the thanks button. You guys hit the thanks button. I can afford a big hat. You know, that'd be cool. On my big head. And then you won't have to see my hair looking weird all the time. You know, we'll have to move the camera up so you can see the big hat up here. But I'd actually, okay, hold on a second. Let me just show you something. All right, back in the studio. Okay, how about this one? I saw one of the Philadelphia fans put cream cheese or wrappers around it and called it the cream cheese head. Anyway, I bought one when I was in Green Bay once. I just thought it was cool. You know, I'm not a cheesehead. I saw this dude who was like, I don't know, 6'6", 400 pounds at Green Bay, wearing a cheese head that was out to like here. I mean, most people's heads would have fallen over. It was kind of cool. Oh, yeah, it was kind of cool. You have to buy one when you're in these places. I have a terrible towel, too. It just means I like souvenirs. So will I get a big hat? I don't know. Christmas is coming, but thanks. Hit the thanks button. Maybe I can. Who makes more money next year, Taylor or Wentz? I'll say Wentz. I mean, Taylor could be around 10 million next year, but Wentz will probably get more than that somewhere. He's supposed to get 26 here. They could get him to go down if he wants to stay. So Daniel says, I'm speaking the truth about things. Thank you, Daniel. Appreciate it. Favorite Redskins player you ever covered? Shar Pradanish, maybe. The Iranian player who was awesome. He's an awesome guy. There's a lot of guys I really liked. Would Chase digress on the defense? Don Who asked. Whew, there's a question been asked a lot. I mean, things are clicking real well. But you don't want to say you don't want a player like Chase to come in. It would be limited snaps, too. So, that's why there's a question about that. If you flew to a game, what airport would be best? Well, if you went to Dallas, it's DFW. You got to do that. Philly only has an airport, but it is by the stadium. And same thing for the Giants, Newark. And that's not very far away either from the stadium. I used to fly them all. Well, not Philly, I drove. Beta Lord, those things cost $80 or so. Yeah, I saw that. It was like 75 and I guess tax. So I'm cheap. I remember when sodas were a nickel. but that's not outrageous. It's not like the RFK seats they're trying to sell you guys for $350. Screw that. No way I'd pay that kind of money for that. Now, some of it's going to charity. No one says how much. And that's way, way too much. I would never pay that money. And I bet it goes down later because they won't sell a lot of them and there'll be plenty left. And I would wait. Same game plan with Wentz. Do we have better results? No. GK. Steve, do I have any gift ideas for Commanders fans who love to read? Well, yes, I do. I wish I had it in my hand, but thanks for the softball. That 100 Things Redskins fans, and that's the old book, 100 Things Redskins fans should know and do before they die. It's on Amazon. You can buy the copies there, but I updated it for a Commanders edition this year. You can go to my website behind me, Monumental Thoughts, and I'll sign it for you. Put 2 in the mail today. So, and I get the money instead of Jeff Bezos. So, thanks. Hassan said, he's also, remember Shar. Yeah, Shar's great. He's out in LA working real estate. Great guy. Slamming Jamming. Have I listened to the Junkies lately? Well, yeah, a little bit. Someone needs to drug test EV with his obsession of Carson Wentz. EV has his opinions. That's what makes you guys listen. I'm on the Junks whenever they call me, which is maybe once every couple of weeks or so. Osmond, Mark Mosley or Chip? Mark Mosley. Mark Mosley. Yeah, who was my favorite player growing up? I loved Mark Mosley when I was back in the 70s when I was growing up in Washington. So, of course, I was a Redskin fan when I grew up. Who else would I be a fan of? But I liked Mark. And I still see Mark occasionally. Great guy. Kevin, and Mark was the guy behind the Five Guys Burger expansion. He went to them and said to the owner and his 4 sons, that's the Five Guys, hey, we could franchise this. And they're like, I talked to the owner. He tells me the story. He goes, I told Mark he's nuts, but if he wants to try and franchise this, go ahead. Now they're, in countries all around the world. And it's better burger than In-N-Out and Whataburger. Blech. In-N-Out burgers. I don't know what you people are talking about. And Whataburger didn't impress me either. Kevin asked about the Sean Taylor Memorial. Yeah, we cycle through guys here a lot during the show. So I found it underwhelming. I just thought it lacked imagination. I was expecting something out of bronze or granite or something, like that. A little more effort. So I was disappointed in it. Howard, new stadium will be in Loudoun County. That'd be awesome. Yeah, don't hold your breath, Howard. I don't think so. RFK. If Jeff Bezos gets his team, RFK site is going to be where it's at. Obey the Lord. I went to the wrong game. Rick spent $1,000 on the first Eagles versus Commanders game not to see a touchdown while there. Woo! Obey the Lord. You've been picking money out of the plate? I don't know, man. Can't afford that. You can get tickets here, $40. Something last time I looked. Daniel, I ended up getting 2 of the books for Christmas for yourself. Would you read them back and forth? That'd be great. But I appreciate it. And people get the books, and I think it's 100 short stories about the Commanders and Redskins mostly. So if you like that, it's a quick read, easy read about all the history. A lot of great stories I didn't even know before I reported them in the book. And I wrote the book 8 years ago, so I updated it this past year when the publisher called and said you want to do it. And if a new owner comes in and wants to rename the team something else again, I'll update the book again. Found money to me. Daniel said it looked like stretch out coat hangers. Yeah, I mean, honestly, it looked like you got something out of Dick's Sporting Goods that was modeling. I mean, they weren't even that good. Just, no face, no arms. I don't know, man. There was so much more they could have done there. So, we're halfway through the show already. You guys love the bell. I'll ring the bell if you hit the thanks button. Anybody hits the thanks button, I'll give you some of the bell. People love the bell. On the 2-minute shows I do in the morning and evening, people love them. All right, Dizzy. Oh, Dizzy's back. Do you think Bezos' chance to be an owner went down after WAPO hit piece on Jerry Jones? Man, boy, that was out of nowhere, wasn't it? They had a picture of him there in Little Rock, Arkansas. Woo! Sometimes people hold on to things. I can tell you this as being a reporter. People wait for the right time, and then they bring out stuff they've got, mostly in politics. But that was quite something. Howard says they're honoring Sonny Jurgensen at the Dallas game at the end. Will Sonny be there? Oh, he's planning to be. I mean, Sonny's health is very, tepid, obviously in his mid-80s. But, he'll definitely try to be there, I'm sure. If Dan Snyder has to send a private plane to go get him. They always wanted Sammy Ball to come. And Dan Snyder offered to send his personal plane to Texas to get Sammy Ball. Just get on the plane. Sammy wouldn't do it. Didn't want to leave Texas. I mean, Snyder did try to get him to come up on there. RB, Butts or Jacoby? Who makes the Hall of Fame first? Jacoby. You don't ever hear anything about Butts. Not that Butts wasn't a really good player. And maybe should be in the Hall. Have I ever met Chris Hamburger? Steve asked. Yeah. Intense. Intense guy, even in an older age. I think he could still knock you out. That's just the kind of guy. He told me a great story once about George Allen used to make him take home reels of film to watch at night. And Chris was tired. He didn't want to watch it. But he knew what George had done. He put a little piece of tape somewhere in the middle of that reel. And so Chris would fast forward it through, let that piece of tape fall out, then rewind it, give it back to George. George would next day, just to double check, see if Chris had been watching, looks for the piece of tape, sees it's gone, and says, oh, great, he watched it. And Chris did that to him over and over. So he didn't have to watch the film. Something I would have done. Is it definite the new stadium will be in D.C.? Asked Marcel. Nope, nothing's definite. There's a long ways to go on this, but we'll see who the next owner is. With Dan Snyder, nah, it's not going to happen. And I mean, people can announce things all they want. Let me know when you're moving dirt and building brick walls. Then we'll know it's true. Because Jack and Cook stood on, I think, 3 different property places and said, I'm going to build here, and nothing happened. Show me when the bulldozer. I have a standing bet with another reporter about where it's going to be, and I said no one pays off till we see dirt moved. Daniel, I'm just going to send you a Christmas present, but didn't know what the address. Just send it from my Uncle Greg Norman. Well, thank you anyway, but that's okay. I appreciate the thought that counts. So I appreciate it, Daniel, but you don't have to do that. Howard, Chris Hamburger used to have a car dealership. Yeah, Chris Hamburger Ford. I remember the song, Chris Hamburger, Chris Hamburger. It's only at Ford. It was down the street from the University of Maryland. Didn't last a long time. And Chris would, I know at one point he was working in a Ford dealership in Upper Marlboro as the parts manager. He liked cars. He was big on that. Kevin, thank you for kicking in a couple bucks. See, be like Kevin. Get some Christmas spirit out there. Resign Payne or Sweat? Payne. I mean, it'd be nice to keep Sweat, but if you got to make a choice, go Payne. Thank you, Kevin. NRG, do you think there's a noticeable difference between this year's locker rooms and previous years? Well, last couple of years really weren't in locker rooms because of COVID. So that's a hard question to answer. But I will say, I think that winning makes everybody happy. There's rule number 1. Winning makes a house a home. So I do think they are getting along better, and not that they weren't before, but that chemistry and things like Heineke and all, and the shoes and all this kind of stuff helps. Yeah, it really does. I mean, yeah, you play to get paid, but you're getting paid anyway. So go have some fun and go try and win. So I think things are better, but the COVID thing disrupted everything so much. And thanks again, Daniel, for your comment on there. So, all right, see, a couple of people have hit the thanks button. I appreciate it. We're trying to raise money so an old sports writer can live out his days in comfort and quit being a whore, as I have to be at sometimes. I got laid off so many times, and I had a really sweet gig with places like Sports Illustrated, and COVID took it all away. So now I still write for 106.7 The Fan and Command Post Magazine. And I do tour guiding, and I teach history online to school kids sometimes. I keep busy. I wouldn't know what to do if I wasn't running around doing something. And I was going to retire after the season because I was just tired of this team and losing and Snyder and all these things. But you know what? Things are getting better. So I'm going to stick around a little longer. And hopefully God blesses me with good health, and I can. So there's L33 Reacts. How you doing? Howard, do I like the black helmets? No. I don't like yesterday, I swear, it was like the white team, I thought we almost like the Redskins, and the black team was Steelers. I mean, it's like, who's playing this game? I don't like the black uniforms. I know people, it's shiny, I'll give it that, but nah, I like the burgundy or the white. Maybe it's traditionalist, I guess. Who is the most personable head coach that I covered, asked RB? Zorn. I like Zorn personally. Until it all went bad, his first 8 weeks, they're 6-2. Things were fun. He's sitting there talking about skinning coyotes and how you hang them up and do all this stuff. He was a fun guy. Wasn't the head coach, but he was a fun guy on there. I didn't like covering Schottenheimer and Shanahan. They had huge egos. Norb was okay guy. Spurrier had a huge ego. He was a real pain in the butt too. Gruden's a fun guy. Who am I missing? Terry Urbisky was coach for a few weeks. I liked him. Fine. We were good friends. Callahan was an okay guy. I mean, most of them were okay guys, but Shanny and Schottenheimer were a pain in the butt, from my perspective. Do I think Heineke has a better performance this week? Asked the L33. Yeah, I would think so. I thought that was his base that he hit yesterday. Just wasn't quite, it was okay. And that's okay. If his worst thing is just okay, good. Everybody just has okay days. I don't have anyone now. Probably. These probably aren't the best answers you want. Thank you, Daniel, for your comment. Zorn would be a great guy to hang with, says L33. Yeah, I mean, he just wasn't a head coach, but he was a great guy. And I hate when people disparage others because they didn't have success. And it has nothing to do with who they are as people. It just means they didn't do their job as well. It happens. See, Eric Isaac says, I believe the team makes the playoffs this year. Let's get it on. There you go. Take command. I think they're going to make the playoffs as a wild card. And then once you get in the playoffs, that'll be a tough out, if nothing else. Just like a couple years ago against Tampa. Tampa, had to really play to beat them and then went on to win the Super Bowl. So they were a tough out. Paolo says, speaking of black helmets, could the Commanders put a 21 on the side of every helmet yesterday? I understand it did. I was so far away, I just didn't even notice that. I thought they had a 21 on their jerseys. That's what I was told. But I'm sitting up there in a box, and it's hard to see in the corner press box where we are at times. So I didn't even think about that. Marcel. All right. My dad's name was Marcel. He hated it. So, yeah, he had a nickname instead. Do I think the 99 Redskins team has a legit chance to win a ring if Snyder didn't axe the team? No. They were good, but they weren't that good. Daniel said, I'm a freelancer working on stages. Well, there you go. All right, so you know the life. Howard, I met Zorn at McDonald's Falls Church one year, and he sat down, we had coffee. I believe that. He was a good guy. Ulysses Grant is saying hi. How you doing? Good luck with that Civil War you've been dealing with. Rich says, does it seem as though Taylor is being told not to run? No, I don't think so. I think Taylor's trying to be a better quarterback and try and find things versus just bailing and running. And you have to take it as it comes. So I don't think that's happened to him. Steve said, I've always hated the yellow helmets Lombardi picked. Yep. Woo. My nose still on straight. All right. Yeah, Lombardi's colors were kind of and the burgundy jerseys were a shade off under Lombardi, and that's because he took away the the apparel contract they had with somebody for years, because his brother-in-law was selling sporting apparel, and so he gave his brother-in-law the business. And the jerseys literally showed up the night before the first game, and they were a little off, but it was like, what are we going to do now? Got to use them. True story. It's in the book. 100 things Redskins or Commanders fans should know and do before you die, but don't die yet. Let's see, Ulysses, have you had any experiences with Yahoo Sports Fantasy app? I don't play fantasy ball. I have fantasies, but they don't involve sweaty guys, running around. So, wow, you got kicked out of your league and everything. Well, you're a bad boy, I guess. Yeah, the Civil War is tough on everybody. Nah, but I don't play fantasy ball. I don't have time for that. I don't wager on games because earlier in my career, if you wagered on sports, you would be fired as a sports writer. Now look at what's going on. If it wasn't for that, sports talk radio go broke if they didn't have sports betting commercials every 5 minutes. I don't know. I hate to see the day when the Commanders win a game but don't cover and people are upset. That really ruins it. Maryland opened up its mobile sports betting this past week, and in 5 days they had 16.5 million wagers. Didn't say how many of them won, or whose perspective winning means. But it just shows, I'm just telling you, be careful with this stuff because it will drag your soul down. And you're going to lose because that's how this works. I've known a lot of sharp guys, they call them in Las Vegas. It's hard to win on sports. It really is. Best to just enjoy the game. Have a beer. Have some fun. Howard, the R on the gold helmet was nice. Yeah, that was pretty cool. We'll never see the throwback. No, we're not going to see the Redskins throwback jerseys. Okay. Oh, gosh, Dennis Tuttle's on here. There's another crazy person. When the Republicans take control of the House, there should be a congressional investigation on why the bell doesn't travel to remote locations. This mission is an outrage. I forget it, but if I do it in the car, I honk the horn. So people like that too, a little variety. But that's it. And this, I'll be honest, it was Dennis's idea for the bell. I don't remember how we talked about it, but Dennis came up with this idea for a bell. So he gets the credit for that. But he wants residuals, and he's not getting them. Dizzy, what was the real reason Greg Williams didn't get the job and left Snyder? Because Snyder did not like Greg Williams. I think Greg was too big a personality for Snyder. He was intimidated by him, and he didn't want to deal with another coach that he was intimidated by. So that was basically it. Any chance the Commanders play a retro game back at RFK? No, RB. They're tearing it apart now. The reason they don't blow up RFK and just be done with that is there's so much asbestos and stuff because it was built in 1961. That there would be like a cancer cloud over DC if they did that. So they've got to do it, one beam at a time kind of thing. And it's going to take, about a year or something like that to fully demolish the stadium. But it's already beat up so much that they can't do that. I asked about that a year ago. Could they even do like a farewell party on the field? And the team liked the idea, but it was too late. Daniel says, Belsy, that's right. That's what I call him, Belsy. Yeah. If you want to start your own YouTube show, all you need is $5 for a bell and $5 for some markers. And you're in business. Steven, that old black and white photo in the background, I look more like Holmgren than Reed. Where is that thing? Oh, it's up in the corner. All right, hold on. Oh. So, I'm not that big a narcissist that I do this, but this is me at 19, 20, maybe I was 21. I forget. Had the real dark mustache, the red mutton chops. I was a hippie back then. I used to have hair. This for short. I used to have hair down to my shoulders. Oh, what happened, man? This was a long time ago, dude. What happened to you? But I was a reporter like this. So, all right. So Daniel says, so what do constructors asked about construction workers wearing hazmat? Yeah, they do a lot of the stuff. Russian Old Spice is back. There you go. HTTR. I noticed a lot of people are using the Redskins name. They don't want to do the Commander's name. I was at Tailgate Ted's party, which is a great party before the game, and they have Redskins uh, tents. That's it. Redskins tents. I haven't seen a Commander's tent if they have them anywhere. John Holmes, was that the porn star? I forget. All right, Goodlands Chugs. My friend Connor is in. Oh, didn't we talk about this last week about Connor trying to date some girl and ask her to be official? Come on, Connor. What are you? Man up. You want a girlfriend? You got to man up and ask it. You know, treat her right, be nice, and hopefully she says yes. And if she doesn't, there's lots of other women out there, just like there's lots of other men out there for women. So, but you know, don't be a wimp. Be a man. Women like men. So go for it. Let me know how it goes. Name your first kid for me after me. All right. My daughters wouldn't name their sons after me, but maybe one of you will. We should bring Richard back. There are no kids in America today being called Rick. They're just not. They're all Leos and Olivers and all those things on there. It's amazing how names change like that. Okay. Thanks, Daniel. Let's see. My every 15-minute plea to hit the thanks button so I don't do this whole show for free. And you guys throw a couple bucks my way. It's Christmas time, you bunch of Scrooges. So I have to buy presents for people. I got 4 grandkids that are all going to be very upset if I don't buy them something. My wife Nana will get them something. That's the prettiest woman behind me. That's the prettiest Mrs. Snyder behind me. Prettier than the other one in town everybody knows about, my opinion. All right. Give a grade on Forrest and Holmes performing on Sunday, asked Kevin. A's. I mean, especially Forrest is an A. Holmes, I'll give a B. I'll give him a B. Maybe a B plus. I do grades after the game. I do call them flash grades because they're kind of first impressions. And they're on the Twitter and on the YouTube page. So you can come after the games and see them. Kind of just as soon as the game's over, I hit the flash grades. I have been grading this team for somebody, including the Washington Times when I was there in the 80s. So I've been doing grades close to 27 years. So they're not always right. Sometimes I look back on them and go, yeah, I could have changed that one. That's why they're flash grades. Goodlands, Taylor or Wentz, if we make the playoffs, we got to stick with Taylor, right? Who gets you to the playoffs? You know, Doug versus Jay Schrader. Jay Schrader threw 4,000 yards, missed the last game, hurt. Doug Williams gets that start, and then Gibbs decides, I'm staying with Doug for the playoffs, and they won the Super Bowl. But Jay had thrown for 4,000 yards over 15 games, you know, but they changed at the last minute. So you just never know. Brent, do I think Heinicke will lose a job if they lose a game? I don't know if it's one game, but if it's 2 in a row and down the stretch here, it could be. Kevin asked, who's Landon Collins play for? I don't think anybody, right? And does anybody know? I don't think he got picked up. Let's see. Ulysses S. Grant says, can you shout out my man, Anthony Saunders? Well, yeah, hit the thanks button, I will. Oh, wait a minute. I just did it. Steve, I think Wentz would be better if we had the Hogs. Well, who wouldn't? I'd be better if we had the Hogs. You know, but we don't have the Hogs. But I give these guys credit. They've played as well as they can play, you know, given everything. You know, the tackles, I think, have been good. I'm a little weird about Cosme and Cornelius Lucas swapping around snaps. It's a little different. I'm not sure what that's quite about. I got to pay more attention to what's going on there. Howard, Dan Snyder getting a lot of money if Bezos buys a team. Well, I think it'll go for $8 million. I think it's going to go 8. I know 7 is the number people are saying. I think it's going to go for $8 billion. What's $1 billion at that point? You know, it's funny. I talked to a tax accountant yesterday who does players' taxes, and I always thought players got paid 17 times or now 18 times during the season, and they can, but they can also get paid 52 weeks a year if they want to spread their money out. And that way, less temptation to blow it all at once, which would be a smarter thing to do in some ways. Let's see. Michael says Snyder still has a ton of money. Well, yeah. I mean, he had to buy out those partners he had, and that cost a lot of dough. So, yeah, he's not going to walk away clean with all this money. And I'm sure there's some kind of taxes going on. Is Chase looking good in practice or just hype? Asked Brent. Well, the media doesn't really get to see the part of practice that matters. They get to see the first 10, 15 minutes when they're doing stretching, and light drills, take a little B-roll film, and then they say, okay, go. So can't tell you on that kind of thing. They let us watch practice up till about the season opener. And then NFL rules say, we get just a small part of that. And that's been that way for a long time. I mean, I used to see most of the practice with Norv's time, but that was 20 years ago. Out in any other games stand out in your mind, like the body bag game or seat cushion game? No, it kind of all blurs out, when you get older. I'm sure I could if I was prompted to think about something. Ulysses, am I going to go see Avatar 2? No. I'd probably watch it on TV when it's free. I saw the first one. I had kids then. I mean, my grandkids want to go. I guess we could. Dan Snyder bought the team for like 19 million. Howard says, no, actually it was 800 million, but that 800 million included 50 million cash in the bank. So really it was 750 million on there. People forget that number. But it was going to go for like 250. And then so many things happened between the new stadium, Cleveland Browns franchise fees, the big TV contract came, the first big one, and it went from 250 to 800. And quite frankly, if Dan Snyder had not stepped in for Howard Milstein and kept that bid, it was going to go over $1 billion. Fred Smith of FedEx was going to go to $1 billion. So I bet he wishes he had. Alexander, what's a good book to read to improve your writing? Elements of Style by Strunk is a really good one. Just the basics. I always say reading. Just reading is good. Seeing how other good writers do work. Daily newspapers, quite honestly, are some of the best writers around. Just look how they're doing it, and you'll learn. I still read people and say, wow, it's really good. Goodland Chugs. How do you know you're related to 5 presidents and John Wilkes Booth? Well, family trees, among other things. So I could prove it, but you'd have to pay money for me to bother to do that. But, when I Venmo me a lot of money, I'll pull out the family tree and show you. Let's see. Steve says, was it when they inducted him into the Ring of Honor that Rigo showed up in his uniform? Yeah, I guess that's what it was. It was a long time ago. He was being honored. I remember that. Went to midfield, bowed to the crowd, bowed to all 4 corners of the stadium back at RFK on there. So I guess it was the ring of sorts that they did back then. I mean, this is like early 90s. So that's like 30 years ago. My memory's not quite as sharp on that. All right, Howard, well, if George Preston Marshall was the owner, we'd still be the Redskins. Well, oh, yeah. I mean, that part, yes. But, they integrated the team when he was there. And now they made him do it, but he did do it. Ulysses, are you interested in making a Cameo account? I don't even know what that is. It's a website where people pay you to give them messages and stuff. I have no idea what that is. But I like your idea. I was going to do an OnlyFans thing till I found out, they said you got to take your shirt off. And I thought, that's kind of weird. And then I found out, ooh, this is a little bit different than I thought. And I think people would pay me more to keep my shirt on. So OnlyFans didn't quite work out. I haven't given up on that idea yet. But I don't know. I'll look into Cameo, just see what it is. But I don't think anybody cares. I do meet a lot of more people now. I was doing these shows than I ever have. I've been doing this 44 years in this town. It's my hometown. But people come up to me all the time now. I was sitting on a bench in front of the FBI building the other day, or DOJ, Department of Justice, after a tour. I've been walking 4 hours. I wanted to sit down for a few minutes. And a guy came up to me and said, hey, I watched the videos and all. So that was really cool. It happens a lot. So I appreciate it. Say hi if you see me. People sometimes say, I saw you, didn't want to bother you. No, come on. I have no problem. Say hi. It's not a problem. Is there any DC local report I should read that doesn't write for sports? You mean there's people out there that write and they don't cover sports? What are these people, Alexander? Find me them. Jeez, I don't know. I tell you, Matthew Paris of the Washington Times is writing sports, and I really think he has my old job from long ago. And I think Matthew's doing a great job. So give the Washington Times a look. We also see pay for your cameo. Okay, we'll talk later. Was I close with Rich Taylor? Asked Brent. I gave Rich Taylor his first job in covering this team. Uh, it's a long story, but yeah, we were good friends. It was really a sad day when he died. I was one of his pallbearers on there. Howard says I can retire and become an Uber driver. Well, my dad was a cab driver in DC, so but Uber, I've never worked for Uber. I'm not going to drive anybody anyway. I got a car with 250,000 miles on it. Steve, come on, y'all. I'm a cheap SOB. If I can do it, anyone can. And Steve kicked in $5. So listen, be a cheap SOB like Steve. All right. Kevin, I hope with new management with the team, we'll let some of the older players mentor the guys about how to play the game. But, you got to have the guys willing to listen to the old timers who they probably don't know in a lot of cases. I can tell you a lot of cases players didn't know who like Charlie Taylor was, who was a Hall of Famer, and they didn't know who he was. This was years ago. So it wasn't like 50 years ago difference. So there's been guys reached out to want to talk to people, and the players don't want to listen, and that's their problem. So I have a wife, so I can't do OnlyFans. Yeah, she don't go online. She never know. So I don't know if I'll do OnlyFans. We'll see. All right. Say good one, John. Could I beat John doing what, David? And which John? I assume you're talking about my friend John Kime, who's one of my best friends. So John's younger than me, so I'm sure he could beat me. John and I used to race when we were much younger. John's really fast. John could do in his prime. He was like a 4.2, 4.3, 4.4 guy, something like that, way back. And he's still quick. But he'd spot me at a distance and we'd run sometimes. He gave me so much. Yeah, beat John in a fight. Well, I'm never going to be in a fight with John, so that's not going to happen. I'd like to see you on Skip Bayless. Yeah, I'm not much on Skip Bayless. Not worth my time hitting Daniel. I'm trying not to be a fighter anymore. I'm in my 60s now. The mind says I could kick somebody's butt, but my body probably wouldn't do very well at it anymore. I was in my new place. We hadn't cut the yard yet. It was about a foot high, buying I got 3 acres. And I hear something coming at me. And I said, oh, man, there's some kind of wild animal coming, but I can't go run from him anymore. I got to fight him. And then it was a bunch of deer. So I chased them away. Oh, okay. Dave said, could I beat him arm wrestling? Maybe. I've never thought about it, but maybe. Maybe if I cheat. Howard, the player's doing too much showing off in the end zone after an interception. Nah, have some fun. If you can do it, you can say it. If you can produce, you can say stuff. All right, Ulysses asked, am I familiar with, are you asking about Montpelier? Or Mark Plyer? I don't know. So let's see, Howard. Skip Bayless makes a ton of money at Fox. Yeah. But listen, most guys who cover sports make a living. That's it. You see the guys on mass media who make good money. But for every one of those guys, there's another 1,000 of them out there just getting by. I never made great money in my career, but I was smart with my money. Alexander, I like Harry Jaffe's writing. Yeah, he's very good. Marion Barry cussing him out or something. Yeah, I covered Marion Barry too. And yeah, he could do some crazy stuff. My father worked for the gas company too. He collected your overdue bills. So every 3 months, he would go to Marion Barry's house to collect the overdue gas bill. And Barry would pay him. And he'd say, I'll see you in 3 months. My dad said, well, you can pay your bill every month. And Mayor Barry just said, I'll see you in 3 months. And he did. So it was Mayor Barry, man. He didn't care what you thought about him. I admired that about him. Let's see. Michael, you're being mean to Bayless. I don't sit here and hate him. I don't even watch Bayless, so I don't even know him. The time right in general, Okay. And then guys are talking about Bayless money. I just don't pay attention to them. So I don't care what some of these national guys say. I know they sell their souls to get things. I don't have to do that. And at the end of my career here now, I'm a columnist. I'm not a reporter anymore. So I don't have to go busting balls to break stories anymore. But things happen, and I hear stuff. Let's see. Howard, Bayless, a huge Cowboys fan. Oh, yeah. I called Heineke a little boy. That was stupid. What are your top 3 books about sports, Alexander asked. Alexander, I'm bad about stuff like this. So I'd have to think about that for a minute. But Paper Lion was a great one. Bang the Drum Slowly was a great one about the New York Yankees. The Boys of Summer was it's really not a sports book, but that was a great one. I wish I could give you a better answer. My mind doesn't work that way anymore. Okay. Let's see. Steve says, I don't watch these idiots screaming at the camera. Yeah, I mean, I just don't. I know it's a lot for show. I once did a show with someone, I'm not going to say his name, but we're arguing on the set about something. We go to commercial, and he goes, that was great TV. Keep going. I said, but I'm right. He goes, that doesn't matter. It's great TV. Okay. I mean, but I believed what I was arguing about. He didn't care. Kevin says, Merry Christmas. Yeah, hey, buddy, I appreciate that. It's going to be, now to have young grandkids again, when you have young kids around, it's a lot of fun. The 4 grandkids are at the house. They're crazy, creating all kind of craziness like they do. And I said, hey, I'm telling Santa. And that shut everybody up for 5 minutes. So I can only use that a few more years. And then no one's going to listen to me anymore. But I'm going to use it for a while I can. With those guys. I have 4 grandkids between 2 and 7. Somebody's always crying. Sometimes it's me. They're getting better now. They're older. It's not quite as chaos. I have 2 granddaughters and 2 grandsons. Great kids. Kids make life a lot more fun. Ulysses, how's Thanksgiving? Great. Whenever family. Saw a lot of the family. So that's, at this point, I value them more. Very lucky. I have a great family all around me. Cousins. Got a lot of family in Washington area. I have some down in Gastonia. Appreciate them all. They've all been good to me. Could Dan Wiss-Out not sell it? Brett asked. No, I don't think that's going to happen. Frank, do I think Mark Schlereth holds a grudge against the Redskins? I don't think so. He's a pretty honest guy about things. RB, where can I catch one of your tours? If you go to monumentalthoughts.com, they talk about them. Mostly I just do private tours anymore. I stay as busy as I want to be, but I do anything you want in DC. So just contact me through Monumental if you want to. We can talk about it. Steve, who's that Yankees player who wrote Behind the Scenes book? Oh, yeah. And I know I didn't meet him. And now I can't remember his name. Some of you out there would pop it. That's why I'm going to get to be old. Names escape you. I have a hard time sometimes with that. And ask me 5 minutes from now, I'll probably remember. That was an interesting thing because I read about what went on with all that. Let's see, Howard, what happened to Phil Wood? Let's see, it's been a while since he's been around. I knew Phil from a lot of years ago. Boughton. Okay, there we go. Steve Moody says Boughton, Jim Boughton. There you go. But I haven't heard from Phil in a while, but I know he's around. Okay, Goodland's Chugs. Motor City, Dan Campbell is on a roll despite the loss to the Bills. Thoughts on the Lions' future? Man, why aren't the Lions better than they are? I don't know. I thought when they beat Washington, they looked like they could score some points. I thought this team's getting better. Man, sometimes franchises just seem cursed. And I remember I covered the NFC Championship game they played against Washington in '91, and they haven't been any good since. Neither is Washington, really. What a weird thing that had turned out to be. The way the Vikes are playing are making me say yippee-ki-yay, Ulysses S. Grant said. Well, I like loyal fan bases and like different teams to win. So good for them. Kevin, do you think training camp will return to Richmond? No. Sorry, they liked it there. It all worked. It was a great situation. I liked it there. But no, they're going to be – I think they're going to be at the Redskin Park or whatever we call it now, the command center or something, until whatever they figure out on the new stadium. Daniel says, Hail to Taylor. There you go. Steven, I always felt bad for Barry Sanders. Yeah, I mean, Archie Manning was considered the great player who got beat to death by a bad team. So, and then his son's all, look at the one son in college now. It's a grandson that's going to be making bigger money. So the Mannings have done well with everything. Whoa, we're after 9 o'clock already. Still got a few people left. All right, ask questions on things. And if you want to throw in a couple dollars, I appreciate it for the thanks. You guys are always there. But you got to leave something wild. It's Christmas, Ebenezer's. Buy the book if you want. Go to Monumental Thoughts. Buy the book. I'll mail it the next day. Sign it to you. All right. The Packers replaced Rodgers. Is Green Bay out of it? Green Bay is out of it, Howard. Yeah. And I think they should move on from Aaron. Lions fired Jim Caldwell. Had a winning record. Yeah, Alexander, you're right about that. And look what they got. Nothing. Can you hit the gritty? What's the gritty, Ulysses? And I don't understand good ones either. Maybe I'm getting tired. Najee's back in town. Okay. Najee's back in town. You owe me $5. Can the new owner of the Commanders change the name without any other approval? Asked Don. Yeah. I mean, it might be a court fight about it, but I would say yes, because that question's been asked lately, and the NFL doesn't want to answer, which means the answer is yes. Search it up. The gritty is a dance. Oh, okay. I've heard of that. I don't know how to do it now. Dancing's not too much what I do anymore. Rodgers had a rib injury during the game. Yes, he did. But I just think he's worn himself out there. So if he wants to keep playing, I think he should play somewhere else. Daniel says, yeah, they could change the name. I'd love for him to change it back to Redskins and say, if you don't like it, you don't have to watch. That'd be cool. I don't think that'll happen. Yeah, Rodgers been playing hurt. I know. Do I like the Commander song, Brent? No. It lacks imagination, and it's in the wrong cadence, if that's the right word to use. It's like an operatic funeral dirge. It's supposed to be something snappy, like the old one. All right, Howard's going to bed. Thanks, Howard, for coming. Do I listen to somebody I have never heard of? Yeah, Ulysses, you must be much younger than me. I don't know who these people are. I didn't know who Wally was. I'd said, who's Whale? And the guys all laughed at me. I've never heard of them. So, Jay-Z, I've heard of Jay-Z, but Jay-Z's been around a long time. But could I sing a Jay-Z song? I'm not sure. Daniel's right. The new song's a rip-off of the old song. And then maybe they could have pulled it off, but it just didn't work the way they sing it. They only play it after touchdowns now. They don't play after field goals anymore on that. The band's back. They've got, a 60-piece band. Quite frankly, they're not loud enough from what I hear. I'd rather see the bigger band back and do it. All right, last couple minutes, and then we're out of here. How do I deal with adversity? Asked Goodlands. I don't take a whole lot seriously anymore because I've seen it all, and I know people are full of BS. So I don't worry about a lot of stuff anymore. 99% of what you worry about in life is going to happen. What's going to happen? So, did I paint the piece on the floor? No idea what that means, Michael. Is there something on the floor? Oh, that piece. Okay. No, I bought that from somebody. And it used to be in the back, and we're still working on this new room of mine, the den. But you notice the lighting's much better now. I have a bunch of those. So, all right, Goodlands, thanks for coming. The potential future of Taylor, asked Brian. I think he'll be in the league a long time as a backup. I bet he's got another 10 years in the league somewhere. I don't know where. It could be here. Could be somewhere else. When you change coaches, I think you'll change quarterbacks a lot. That's very common on everything. All right, last questions. Throw them in. I'm going to go right here. I do like 36 hours of Commanders from about 9 in the morning Sunday to 9 p.m. here. It's pretty much all I think about between the games, writing stories, doing videos, I do about 36 hours, and I go, all right, enough. So The Seasons of Discontent video is now up on, I think, on YouTube. You can see my videos on the morning. Usually I post around 6, 7 a.m. and around 6, 7 p.m. So you can see those on everything. And what else do we have? Well, the book's out. So if you want to buy a present for a Commanders fan, Redskins fan, whatever, they're up there on Monumental Thoughts. Thanks for coming, Ulysses. Appreciate it. And we're here on Mondays, 8 to 9. So if you're watching on replay, and believe it or not, more people watch on replay than live on there. You can see this as soon as the show's over. It gets archived in YouTube, and you can watch it right afterwards on there. So do I think the front office realized the memorial of Sean was a mistake? Yes, Kevin. I think some of them do, but they'll never admit it. So, all right. And that's everything. So, thank you all for coming. Appreciate it so much. I'll see you again next Monday, and you watch the videos during the week. And we'll see if they beat the Giants. Who else is going to be around here? So, thanks again, everybody. Daniel, thank you for coming. Kevin, a lot of you guys been coming every week. I appreciate it because I know you could listen to somebody else, beg you for money, but telemarketers, that kind of thing on there. So we appreciate everybody coming in, just doing this. And go to Odyssey.com. You can read my stories, my columns on the team, 1067 The Fan. I appear there occasionally, and a little bit of wherever, I just helped somebody doing a book on tailgate parties yesterday. So I still show around on things, but Monumental has stuff up too. All right, that's it. Bye, Kevin. I am going to go do something else. My eyes look tired. All right, guys. I'll see you so much later. Thanks for coming. Bye.